Hey, welcome to Mineral Talks Live, the weekly live webinar that brings you in-depth and in-person interviews with the mineral people from around the world. Mineral Talks Live is brought to you by a joint effort among the Mineralogical and Geological Museum at Harvard University, the Society of Mineral Museum Professionals, and Blue Cap Productions. Tune in every Wednesday and stay connected to your mineral world. Now, broadcasting live from beautiful Honolulu, Hawaii, the land of aloha, ukuleles, and shakas, this is Mineral Talks Live. Hello and welcome back. It's good to be here. Today is Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021, and while normally most of us would be tossing down a few margaritas together in Tucson right now, we're very happy that you've decided to join us here on our 33rd episode of Mineral Talks Live. For those of you new to the show, Mineral Talks Live is the weekly mineral talk show broadcasting to you live every Wednesday. I'm Brian Swoboda, president of Blue Cap Productions, and together with my fabulous partners, Dr. Raquel Alonso Perez from the Mineralogical and Geological Museum at Harvard University, and Dr. Eloise Gaillou from the Society of Mineral Museum Professionals, also known as the SMMP, we'd like to welcome you to our program. Our goal in producing this program has always been to bring together all the different facets of our mineral world, from curators and curatrix to collectors, dealers, miners, researchers, artists, and the media that serve us all. We've all been separated far too long, and this show is one small way to bring us back together. Raquel, Eloise, and I try our best to bring a wide range of guests onto the show, and in doing so, we feel the show reflects the true global nature of our mineral world. Even in the production of the show, the global nature is reflected by the three of us alone spanning pretty much half the globe or 11 time zones, and sometimes 12 time zones depending on the time of year. Now, I share this information with you so that you understand that as an audience, you too are plugged into this global network, and as such, your participation helps to make the show what it is. So we encourage you to participate and be an active part of the show. There are two ways that you can do that. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see a series of buttons. There's one button labeled Chat and another labeled Q&A. The chat feature allows you to type messages to everyone watching and participating in the show. So when you first sign on, feel free to fire off a chat message to everyone telling us where in the world you're tuning in from. We love to see where our friends are. During the interview, our guest and I will be really focused on our conversation and not so much looking at the chat window. However, both Raquel and Eloise will be very active in those chats, so look for their comments along with everyone else's. At times during the interviews, either Raquel or Eloise may interject with questions that you're asking so we can get an immediate answer from our guest while they're still on the topic. Now, the second way to interact is with the Q&A function. This allows you to submit general questions that we'll all try to answer at the end of the interview. Finally, at about 40 minutes into the program, you may see a window pop up on the screen asking a bunch of questions for our weekly poll. These are questions we carefully curate for each guest. We know that some of you think that this may be silly, but hey, we're silly, so go ahead and play along. And now, on with the show. Last week, we took you to the Pacific Northwest of America, and today we're shooting all the way over to Milano, Italy, 5,500 miles away to catch up with a friend of mine who very nearly defies descriptions. Is he a scientist? Is he a miner? Is he a mineral repair specialist? Is he a curator? Or is he all of these things and more combined into one? Well, I'll tell you one thing, he certainly is fascinating to talk to. So without any further delay, please allow me to present Dr. Federico Pezzotta. Federico, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm happy and honored to be here and to have this opportunity.
Well, thank you for joining us. It's great to see you. Normally we'd be hanging out in Tucson, but hey, this is all we have right now. So I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you. I'm happy.
Terrific. Now, Federico, talking about mineral shows, anybody that goes to a mineral show knows you, but that might not be the case for our audience. So today we're going to focus pretty much on your curator's hat, other than all those other things I mentioned. But before we get too deeply into that, I like to turn back the clock a little bit, and why don't you tell us about how you got started in mineralogy and how that eventually led to your current position at the Milan Museum?
Thank you for this question, actually. This is combining what I was when I was a kid and what became my work. Actually, you mentioned that somebody looks me as a expert in mineral specimen preparation. Somebody looks me like a museum curator, a miner, collector, and so on. Actually, when I was a kid, I started very early in collecting minerals, and it was a chance. There was a fluorite mine which was open right not far from my house, and there I collected my first piece of fluorite. And for many years, I was very deeply impressed by science, by scientists, by the life of scientists, and honestly, I was also impressed about artists and obviously some big names of the past, which were combined scientists and artists and so on. Actually, I was happy. I was playing piano. I was painting. I also had an experience in sculpturing with an important sculptor which was living in Bergamo, in my town. And actually, up to the age of 13, I did not knew if I wanted to follow the artist line or the scientific line. And when I had to decide for the high school, I decided for science. And so I reduced the other activities, and I concentrated in science. But at this point, I did not know if I wanted to be an engineer, a mining engineer, a geologist. I started working also collaborating with some when I was at the high school, at the last class, I was starting collaborating with companies which were making applied geology, so applied to civil and big enterprises and so on. And at the end, when I arrived in the university, I liked so much mineralogy, and I liked so much the scientific research that I decided to make a doctorate and to follow this line. And obviously in life, when you cannot do too many things, and I had to abandon other activities. And it was after the doctorate, I went. I made a PhD in isotopes and geochemistry and isotopes. And after that, I decided to make some experience outside Italy. And I went in Madagascar working for a couple of years. And while I was in Madagascar, it happens that a professor from the university called me and told me, look, there is the position of the mineralogy curator of the Natural History Museum available. Are you interested in? I had some collaboration in the past in some museum activity in Bergamo and also a little bit in Milano. But for me, it was an unbelievable dream to be the curator. I never thought in my life to have this opportunity. So at the time I could not believe that there was really this opportunity. So I meet people in the museum. They were happy. I was to find me as a candidate. And actually, when I made the concourse, there was one place and 106 people which compete for this place, and I was happy to get this place. And from this, I decided to work in the museum for full time, and I was thinking that I would need nothing. Except for the work at the museum. So the museum was satisfying me because I was happy about working every day with minerals. I can study the collection. I can make scientific research. I can make field work. I can, what better?
Right.
I was working quite enthusiastically in this activity up to when, unfortunately, after a few years, something changed, which was a big change in the directions of the museum took. I mean, the direction decided not to finance anymore the scientific research to create some significant difficulties in making any kind of activity which was not strictly devoted to the exhibits and the inside work. So the contacts with the outside the scientific world was becoming more difficult. No more possibility of being in making conferences, in making scientific research, making field work. In the past, I did a lot, but after this was the moment in which I took the decision to change something. I made a step back. I mean, I wanted to remain. I studied the situation. I wanted to remain working in the museum because I believe that this is part of the quality of my life. But I found out that I needed money for financing my research, financing my trip in the field, and so I found out that I had the opportunity of reducing my activity at the museum at a part-time position. So, and my asking for a part-time position was accepted, and I submit to the direction my plan of work, because what I was going to do outside the museum had to be, in any case, confirmed and get the authorization from the direction of the museum. So I got the authorization of opening a consultant company, and I decided to develop a professional activity. Doing everything actually I like to do. And I still work in the museum because the museum is still a big opportunity, and I wanted to focus on major projects here in the museum. And one of the major projects exactly was the setup of a new mineral gallery.
Well, that's wonderful, Federico. It sounds like everything just kind of developed naturally. And we're going to get to the big project that you just mentioned. But I want to kind of allow the audience to understand a little bit. When you got the opportunity to be the curator there at the Natural History Museum in Milan, you saw it as a great opportunity. So you obviously knew a little bit about the history and the background of the museum. Can you kind of briefly share with the audience so that the audience also has a perspective of where the Milan or the Natural History Museum of Milan kind of came from and why it was so important and why it still is so important?
Yeah. Actually, the Natural History Museum of Milan is now one of the largest natural history museums in Italy. Maybe we can compare this museum to the one in Florence, or the one in Rome, the one in Torino. There are just a few ones, but actually, natural history in Italy is quite well considered. And so the museum was, and all these museums, more or less born in the first half of the 19th century, when there was a strong interest of the politics and the culture to create natural history museums. And indeed, the Natural History Museum of Milan, born in 1932, through the donations of the collection of two noblemen in Milano, Giorgio Ian and Giuseppe De Christoforis. And what is good is that these naturalistic collections were in good part composed by minerals. So the first nucleus of the museum were right minerals. And the mineral collections and the other naturalistic collections grow very well during time. And the museum had the benefit of several important directors over the time, including Antonio Stoppani. Antonio Stoppani was a very important scientist, paleontologist, geologist, but also politician. And this connection with the politics actually helped in growing the level of the museum. And And so the museum grew at a level that it started from a small building. There was a the second building in which the museum went, which is Palazzo Dugnani. And at the end, a new building was projected and created at the end of the 19th century, which is the building in which I am now, and it was built right for being a natural history museum. So, with a suitable size and with rooms designed exactly to exhibit naturalistic collections. Actually, unfortunately, the museum in 1943 suffered on August 14, 1943, during the Second World War, suffered a major bombarding, and the fire bombs enter in the windows right in room number 2, in which there were the exhibits of mineralogy, and there was the famous Pisani collection, the collection which was acquired in 1882, which was containing over 450 tourmaline specimens from Elba Island, and these were completely destroyed. And I'm particularly suffering for this collection because you know my love for Elba Island minerals and pegmatite minerals. So unfortunately, this collection was completely destroyed, and the museum burned. So after this bad event, many citizens from Milano made huge donations of money and goods to the museum to rebuild the museum, and there were funds which were devoted to the renewing of the collections, because most of the collection were lost. Luckily, not all the collections. Part of the collection were still here, but they were the ones which were in the basement, or the few ones of the few objects which remained in the exhibits. So after the Second World War, the museum was rebuilt exactly like it was before, and the collection received a lot of nice donations, and for the Pisani collection, actually, when I came here at the museum, I was studying if something was left from this collection, and I was lucky to find still some pieces down in the basement, and maybe if we have a little bit time later, I will show you something I was able to
that'd be exciting.
To find from this collection.
Now, the pieces that you found, were they from Elba Island, from the Pisani collection?
Pisani, yes. I was looking especially for finding something remaining from this Elba Island collection. Actually, we have some collection from Elba Island, but this collection belongs to some donation we had right after the Second World War. But I was able to find also something which was from before, and actually from the original collection of Giuseppe Pisani in 1882.
Now, Federico, do me a favor. Show me the smile that was on your face when you discovered those pieces in the basement.
Like the suffering before, because they were very dirt and very destroyed. A little bit more happy when I was looking that there was a chance of trimming and cleaning something good, and very happy when one good piece, at least one fantastic piece, came out.
Terrific. I think that's going to be the screen grab.
Federico, you have to show us. I love the building as well that you showed me yesterday. That was beautiful. So I hope that you can show us at some point.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, hopefully. So then, Federico, you were just mentioning something about the new development, the new renovation of the museum. So give us a little bit of kind of background on that, and then we're going to take a look at what happened over time, and then you'll take us through the museum.
Yeah, I don't want to speak too long about museum exhibits, concepts, and so on. Each curator is developing during his professional experience different ideas. I am especially in love for historic classic exhibits. I mean, every museum which today is able to preserve historic exhibits, in my opinion, would never become an old, because they are such interesting, such full of interest, such full of history, such and the specimen, mineral specimen. If we speak about mineral collection, the mineral specimens inside the historic showcases on the historic basis with the historical, this has a special taste for me. But when a museum decides to take out the historic exhibits and take the challenge of making a modern exhibit, in my opinion, is taking a big risk, an unbelievable risk, because the old historic exhibits would be historic forever, and they would be always appreciated. But when you go to modern exhibits, actually you fall in the problem of updating the exhibits, updating in terms of content, updating in terms of exhibiting techniques, updating in terms of lighting, and updating in terms of design. So when I arrived at the museum in 1996, I had a short period with a temporary position, and after I got my full-time position in 1998, I arrived at the museum and we had showcase. We had no more the historical collection and the historic exhibits, and we had an exhibit which was set in 1984, and it was not complete in 1998 when I had to start working on this exhibit. So the first request of the direction of the museum was to complete this exhibit in 1998. But if you can believe, in my opinion, something which was designed in 1984, it was already old in 1998. So I was called to complete an exhibit which for me it was already obsolete. So since this moment, I performed a strong work. In 1.5 years, I set up the complete exhibit at the time. And actually it was appreciated because luckily the Mineralogy gallery at the museum was quite always at the top level of the good comments of the public. But when I had an opportunity, when the municipality gave me the opportunity of having a new exhibit, because this room in which the minerals are was needed for some special exhibit for the Expo of 2015, and the municipality told me that they can give me the money of making a new exhibit if I was able to take out the old one and give this for the temporary exhibits of the Expo. I took this opportunity, and at this point, the actual director of the museum, which is Domenico Piraina, got the opportunity and found immediately the money, and he also appreciated the project I had. And I wanted, for the new gallery, I wanted to design something which was at the same time modern, but super simple. The most simple one, in order to have the possibility of being updated in the future without, in a way in which it would be still nice. So as much it was simple and with high quality material, built up in high quality material, as more easy was it would be possible to update the lighting, the interior, the contents, and actually this was what was accepted by the designers and by the architects which worked at it, and I worked close to them, and the result, I believe, is good. And I can say that the experience I got in the last years in working for private, high-level private collectors actually was very important for me. for getting the correct technical knowledge about the details of the lighting, or the quality of the showcases, even the design and so on. And I believe that I transfer this experience I got in the private world into the public exhibits here in the museum.
That's wonderful. So even though you had the vision as the curator of what you wanted to create, and you were trying to respect the historical value of the existing exhibits, you wanted to create something that would be a little bit open-ended, yet your experience from the private world actually helped you fulfill the vision that you had, but maybe couldn't figure out exactly how to create.
Yeah, actually, I had no more historic collections. So what I can do? I have to try to do my best for having a modern collection.
Wonderful. Federico, do you think we can take a little time and take a look at what you've done?
Yeah, if you want to go through some picture, yeah, I want to share with you this view of the room, how it was looking right at the beginning of the works, like a nightmare actually, but everything was there to become something good. Next slide, please. Yeah, this was first works. Next, go. Yeah, this was the setting up of the showcases. Next one. Lighting coming.
And certainly a very modern look here.
And the setting of the panels, the text. Next one. Putting the stones was quite a big work. I had to bring upstairs from the basement all the selected pieces from the collections. Actually, I had a good idea what to put in exhibit, but what I did was to bring upstairs something like more than double of what I knew had the opportunity of fitting inside the showcases. And at the end, the very final selection, I did the very final selection right when I was putting the stones inside the showcases.
So how many rocks do you have?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Eloise.
Oh, I was just asking, how many rocks do you have on display then now?
Not so many. They are around 580 pieces now.
And so, how big is the room?
The room is around 34 meters by 11.5, so it is 440 square meters.
Nice. And I love the building. The building is so beautiful. It's really wonderful.
Actually, this was a very good suggestion which came from the director and the architects, because the room before, when the previous exhibit was set, actually had the windows completely obscured, and there was there was no way of looking at the architecture of the room. But when we removed the covering of the windows, actually it was very evident that it was a nice looking room. So the director and the architects worked for renewing everything, and also use the architecture to create a special atmosphere.
Wonderful.
So you can go to the next. And now putting the stones inside the showcases. Actually, this was quite a thrilling situation, because I had to enter inside the showcases and moving sometimes in a quite funny way, like with my feet, like Charlie Chaplin, moving along the glasses. And it was quite hard, but really enjoying work, Next one.
I think it's very interesting that you brought up way more minerals than you knew could fit into the displays, And then even the act of putting the minerals in was a very dynamic act. You may have had an idea in your head, but once you placed it, you realized it wasn't working. So like you kind of was very dynamic to the very, very end.
Yeah, this happened, obviously during the COVID period. But when finally I had the chance of putting the stones in the showcase, actually I had the help of an entomologist, Michele Ziglioli, which is here with me this evening. He will help a little bit later in opening one showcase. Actually, he worked with me, helping me. And so we were just two people, and we were working up to 8, 9, 10, up to 12 hours a day, up to when we were completely exhausted. All the week, including the weekends in a row, because it was quite not possible to interrupt the process. So we worked in a row up to when everything was set.
And that's him that we see in the left of this photo.
Yes, he is there. Yes. Next slide. Yeah, adjusting. So you can see me now inside the squeeze between the showcase and the glasses, the front glasses, adjusting the lights. So. And the next one.
I love this photograph. This is such a great shot.
The glass is making like a mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so now the next photo is going to be the video of the lights going on in the exhibit hall. So let's roll that. Fantastic job, Federico. And that's your view every morning when you walk in and turn on the lights. So here's a photo of that little bit higher angle, but you kind of get to see really what you created there.
Yeah. So there is something I would like to add to this, to the concept behind this room. Across the years, I had the opportunity of knowing many collectors, mineral collectors, many museum curators, and I also visited quite several collections and museum curators and so on. But I can tell you that there was a person which inspired me more than anybody else in the exhibiting the minerals, and somebody else which inspired me for the content. The first person, I disagree a lot of things with this person about how consider the minerals and which were the good pieces, the bad pieces, and so on. But for the display taste, he really teach me something which impressed me. And this man was Adalberto Giazzotto. I believe that many of you knows Adalberto Giazzotto. And he had a very well-defined and important concept about how to exhibit minerals. And he was very in love about minerals. And he developed, over the years, his taste for exhibiting minerals, combined with his attitude of in nature, in life, in anything, trying to consider always major things, major objects, major goals. And Adalberto Giazzotto was first inspired in his vision of minerals, mineral collecting, and mineral museum by the exhibit and the collection of École des Mines in Paris. École des Mines in Paris for Adalberto Giazzotto was remained a dream for all his life. I don't know how many of you knew Adalberto. Adalberto unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago, but Adalberto was a major person in physics, and he was a physician, and he was part of the origin of the major experiment which was successful right a few years ago in detecting the gravitational waves. So Adalberto actually inspired me about how to exhibit the minerals, and I believe that at some level this room respects some of his part of his vision, how to exhibit minerals. And the second person, which really inspired me about
before you go there, let me just explain to people who maybe are tuning in and they may not be aware, but his inspiration was the School of Mines, where Eloise is the curator. So
yes,
if you want to go back and take a look at that, that was our first episode of Mineral Talks Live. So I'm sorry for the interruption.
Oh, that's good. And the second person, which inspired me about the contents, and this person really, maybe this person is not understanding how much inspired me, but he gave me really a new vision. He opened my mind about how to teach to people, how to use minerals for teaching science, and how to show to people how the minerals are at the basis of our technology, our society, of our life. And this man is Jane Mayer, which was on Talksite a couple of weeks ago. I was fascinated by his conferences about minerals, and he actually brought me to the concept that minerals, the modern concept of minerals, is overcoming the classic naturalistic view of minerals. Actually, minerals and science of matter are a continuous line. There is no difference. Because in the definition of minerals, the classic definition of minerals, a mineral is a natural compound, is a natural product, and so on. If it is man-made, but today, yes, if you want to collect minerals, you probably don't go to artifacts or crystals grown in laboratories. But if you want to study minerals in science, actually minerals are the basis of everything we have today, we use today in our life. They are back to everything, technology and energy and any kind of advanced science start from the study of minerals. And this is actually something I wanted to illustrate in the gallery. Indeed, I used an approach which is probably new in the exhibits, in museum exhibits, which is an approach in which I start from the brick of matter, so the atoms, and I went through the physical, to the physics, and after the chemistry, and after I reduced actually the classification of minerals in a few showcases, but I wanted to show how minerals are in the technology, in the energy, in obviously in gemstones, in dimension stones, in any kind of this in the ecology, and all of this. And this is what I illustrated in my showcases.
Wonderful. Federico, maybe you could take us to go look at some of these up close. For our viewers, can you repeat again the name of the gentleman that inspired you to exhibit the minerals in the way that you did?
Yes, Jane Mayer.
Jane Mayer. Spell his last name?
Mayeran. Jane Mayeran. He was on Mineral Toast a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, Gene Myron.
Gene Myron.
Yes.
Sorry for my Italian accent.
I'm sorry. You didn't use your hands. If you used your hands to say his name, I would have understood. Thank you. Well, no, I totally get that. So maybe you could pick up the computer and we can go take a look at the exhibit while also maybe the ladies can launch the poll.
Okay, first I want, okay.
You may have to make that screen go away for you. There you go.
What do you want I do now?
You could take us and show us the exhibit up close.
Okay. Can you see around?
Yes.
I want to show first my helper, Michele. He will take
thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you. He will take my laptop and follow me. So I just go fast because I believe that there is not so much time remaining. But just for fun, I wanted to start with the exhibit with these big crystals. And the crystals, the title actually of this section is Crystal, the Order from Chaos. And I show a group of giant crystals, big topaz, big sulfur, big quartz, big fluorite. This fluorite actually is from the Zonio mine, the mine close to which I bought. This is 45 kilos, completely transparent inside. And I put together with the giant, together close to the giant crystals, small crystals, which are at least of 2 orders of magnitude smaller, just to show that crystals in nature, which are the ultimate example of order in nature, can grow at a different order of magnitude in size. So,
Excellent.
and after we go to the elements, there are examples of minerals made up in light elements, intermediate heavy elements, and the heaviest natural elements, including uranium. And after we go to the physics, the gravity and heat, and we have here the classic kyanite, andesite, sillimanite, a group of minerals. Pyrope from Dora Myra, a garnet in which the pressure when the crystals grow was so high because they were so deep that there are micro diamonds inside. And after we cannot... we have to go to the time, and we have meteorites with crystals in meteorite, in which these crystals grow at least 4 billion years ago, and to have this size of crystal, which are giant crystals, you can see by the constant inside the crystal structure, actually, they took millions of years to grow, in contrast with the crystals like this selenite, which grow in a few months inside some tubes of an industry in Tuscany. So these are not natural. They formed inside the tubes of the pipes,
okay. So inside the pipes of like the foundry where all the smoke and the chemicals are coming out, the crystals form in there.
The chemicals were coming out and no more chemical is going out. When people went inspecting what happened, these selenite crystals grow inside. And we have halite crystals which grow in one night. So we have a contrast between crystals which are taking 1 million years to grow and crystals which grow in one night. And here we have crystals which grow in different steps. And this is bringing also to the concept of surviving of crystals over time. So the metastable situation of many crystals. And after we go to crystallography, the crystallographic class, we go, and here finally to the crystallochemical classification with the native elements, sulfates, alloys, oxides, and so on, the classic. So at the end, what I want also to say is that this is not an exhibit of nice stones. I am using nice stones to illustrate the content of the text I use as didactic illustration. of the mineralogy. And here we are in the silicate. Obviously, I took also particular attention to the Italian mineralogy. And we are here to the evolution of minerals from the concept of the black planet, the red planet, the white planet, and the green planet. And the classical study of Hazen, published in 2010. And no minerals, no fossils. This is some provocation to the colleagues working with fossils. And here minerals and the social economic development, the use of minerals like they are or transformed as basic for producing the elements we are using in our technology, in our life, and minerals and the science of matter, material science, and the minerals and energy. And look at this crude oil examples, which are a collection, come from a collection I found in the museum. This collection was built in 1882, 1883, and this collection was built by Antonio Stoppani, the director of the time, the Abbot Antonio Stoppani, who was particularly interested in documenting the crude oil, which was found in oil researches in Italy. All of this is from Italy.
Very interesting.
And obviously the lithium in the storage of energy and the geothermic energy and the associated minerals in the geothermic and minerals and ecology and the use of minerals in the dimension stone. And look at this crystal here. I don't know if you see this quartz crystal. Just a moment. Can you see a big quartz crystal transparent there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, in the middle of the screen. It's a giant 2 kilos crystal from Carrara for the famous marble quarries.
Wow.
Which is quite a unique piece. And here, this is a showcase devoted to minerals, which are also gemstones. And there are some showcases here, which are an example for the UV light. Till now, you know that this gallery is not yet open. So this is a very first tour about public tour about this gallery, and this is an anticipation. But several people came here from the museum and people which were helping and the technicians which were involved in building up the showcase and so on. And everybody was happy to see here this one. This seems to be the most exciting place for the visitors, making all.
You better watch out. Peter McGowan's going to call you and say, okay, bring that to Tucson next year.
That's a quite efficient system. It works very well. Actually, I have 2 lines of lights. One is a visible light, and the other one is just UV light. I switch on this button, and I can see the 2 different lights. And here I have a gallery of showcases, which are related to a different concept. These are minerals from deposits, actually, which are related to the geodiversity of our planet. So minerals divided by geological origin. So from effusive rocks, basalts and ignimbrite and subvolcanic rocks, and magmatic intrusive rocks, granite and so on. And going further, we have minerals related to deposit connected with metamorphic rocks.
Federico, it's getting a little bit hard to hear you. Can you speak facing the computer?
Yes,
or a little... Thank you.
Yeah. So minerals connected with born in deposits of connected with metamorphic rocks, and then minerals connected with sedimentary rocks and hydrothermal systems. So this is actually this section of the exhibit. And if you have 1 minute more,
Sure.
maybe I can show you what is the specimen I was telling you before. I was able to find from the Pisani collection, survived.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please. That would be awesome to see, Federico.
Yeah, I need the help of.
And while we're doing that, we have to say again that it's the first time ever that's like someone outside of your museum that they can see the gallery, because the museum is still closed to the public. And
the gallery was completed on last December 20, when it was expected the opening, but after, because of the problem of COVID, there was no possibility of making an opening, and the new opening now is scheduled for March 2, and so this is the very first aspetta. Vai a prendere il carrello che sta dietro lì.
So everybody post, yeah, I've seen it. It's wonderful. You have to go see it and build up the anticipation for it.
Yeah, very likely we will make an opening which would be reserved to a group, to some authorities, and I am scheduling an opening later. So it would be open to the public, but I will make an event later when it would be possible for the public, and with conferences and so on. So I will need to wait a little bit. So just this is the piece, which actually, I don't know if you can see. Devi venire più vicino.
Probably better in the light of the case.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, this one actually, look here.
God,
this was
great.
This was the big piece I found in the, I don't know if you can see something. This is a big piece actually, which I found in the collections, which was a too big piece to be in exhibit, and it was all damaged. But cleaning it, I found out that there were some loose crystals in it. So I trimmed out this part of the piece where a couple of loose crystals were still fitting on their base. So I trimmed and I prepared this piece, which now is one of the nice Elba pieces we have in our collections.
Oh, that is a wonderful piece. Great story behind it. And I will forever associate that piece with that goofy grin you showed us on the camera. Yeah, that one. Federico, I'm gonna have a special request. Maybe it's in the granite area display, but do you have a certain barrel that you can show us that is very important to you, and you know which one I'm talking about?
That is pink in color?
Raspberry-ish?
No, I don't have in exhibit. I don't want it to make self-promotion. So I don't have in exhibit any Pezzottite.
Can we see the fluorides from the mine that you were collecting when you were a kiddo?
Yes. I show you. I take the opportunity to show you one of my preferred pieces. Look at this demantoid pieces from the Alps.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, this one is about 35 centimeters across, and it is probably the most spectacular piece of demantoid ever found in the Alps.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there are a few pieces are very important here, and just for fun, yes, again, these are the fluorides from the Zonio mine. Obviously, since I like this locality, I had the opportunity of buying some pieces from some collections over the years, and this is one of the showcases illustrating some examples of these fluorides, which are quite funny because of the size and the colors and the transparency. And some part of our best pieces, best collections are the Sicily sulfur, aragonite, and celestite. This is interesting because a great part of these collections came to the museum before the bombardment and the burning of the museum, and it was it's incredible that this collection survived.
So Federico,
Was it just in a different part of the museum?
Yes, it was in a different part, of course, of the museum. Yes.
Right.
So Federico, the total, what's the amount of the collection? How many pieces do you have in total?
We don't have big collections like your museum, but the total number of the pieces in our collection is about 50,000 pieces, which correspond to about 38,000 inventory numbers. And there are among them, there are about 20,000 pieces from Italy, and the rest are worldwide pieces.
So that's not that small. I mean, to choose from those to go down to only 400 something, that's quite a task to be able to string down.
Actually, I know quite well our collection, so I already knew how to where go to collect to take one piece or another piece. But obviously the high quality pieces, the display quality, not the high quality, the display quality pieces we have, they are in any case a limited number. They are most of the best material we have is here now in this room, and I probably can build up 2 more rooms with good material, but no more. So well, let's say that we have something like 2,000 significant display pieces, no more. All the rest are pieces which are smaller, not of display quality, but maybe very important and interesting for documentation, for geological, mineralogical, scientific documentation, historical, regional documentation.
Federico, do you already have plans on how you might rotate the exhibit and change some of the things that are on display?
Yeah, of course. Yes. I am thinking for the future to devote at least this last part of the showcases I show you, the last ones I show you, this line, the right line of the room, to temporary exhibit, because these showcases are easy to open. I can take out the stones and I can create a temporary exhibits. I would like to make temporary exhibits in the future about some special topics using both our material, but also maybe some private collections which could be used for illustrating to public specific topics.
Terrific. That was going to be my next idea, if it was just going to be your pieces or if you would be open to getting from private and maybe other museum collections.
Yes, exactly.
Federico, do you have any gems on display, or specifically any Italian royal gems?
Now, unfortunately, I don't have so much. I have the last showcase of the first line of showcases I show you is devoted to gem crystals. So I have in display some nice gem crystals, but not cut gemstones. The reason is that we don't have a significant collection of cut gemstones. But for the future, I am planning to make temporary exhibits on using gem crystals, pieces of rat, and cut stones, maybe from private collections.
Wonderful.
Or other museums.
Fantastic.
I have a suggestion. Since you were inspired by Jim Myron, and he would be delighted to hear that, I'm sure he would loan you his trillion collection, which is outstanding. I'm working that for you, with you.
Let Raquel speak for Gene that, yes, he will do it. And then it's just let Raquel convince him. So, yeah, it'll come. So start planning that. Federico, thank you so much. We're at the end of our hour here. We're going to go a little bit long, but I think that's okay. I've got my 5 quick-fire questions that I'm going to ask you. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, I know you're a little bit nervous, but this is going to be painless. Remember, all of your answers are correct. We're just seeing if the viewers have the correct answers like you do. So, okay. Remember, you have to think quickly and just respond, okay? Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Question number 1, cotton or leather?
Leather.
Of course. Question number 2, and this is a very difficult one, perhaps the most difficult question. Does a gentleman pick up a naughty stool or does he shoot it with a pistol?
Shoot with a pistol.
Of course. Question number 3, beef or vegetables?
Beef.
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 Question number 4, backpack or fanny pack?
Backpack.
Backpack, okay. And question number 5, this may be a hard one also. Lidocotite or elbaite?
Lidocotite.
Really? Oh, I would have guessed the other way. Very interesting. Okay, let's see what our viewers had to say. Eloise, are you ready with the answers?
I am ready. So we were not too nasty with you, Federico. It's okay?
Yes.
Okay, good.
In full disclosure, Federico was a little bit nervous about what questions I might ask him, so Eloise went through and edited it. Okay, question number 1, cotton or leather? Federico said leather. What did the audience say?
Yeah, that was far too easy. Leather, 77%.
All right. Question number 2, does a gentleman pick up a stool or does he shoot it with a pistol?
Okay, Brian, you have to tell us the story because that's the only question I didn't edit because Brian wanted to keep that question for you, Federico. So you have to explain the backstory on that one after the end of the poll. So people answer, pick up a naughty stool.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And I didn't expect anyone to get that. That's a little joke. But as you said, I'll explain it later.
Thank
Question
you.
number 3, beef or vegetables?
Okay, that was almost 50-50, but people answer vegetables.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Question number 4, backpack or fanny pack?
Backpack.
Backpack.
72%. Mm-hmm.
I would have gotten that one wrong because I would have gone fanny pack.
Me too, all the way.
And the final question, lidocotite or elbaite?
I think people got tricked as well because we all know Elba from Elba in Italy. So people answered Elbaite. So we got it wrong.
Wow. Okay. So 2 out of 5. Well, see, that's the value of this, viewers. Now you know your Pezzotta even better than before. Okay. Do we have questions and answers, or do you want the quick explanation on the stool thing?
First, the explanation, please.
Okay. This refers back to the time that Federico and I were down at Pedonera, filming the Pedonera movie. And it had been, I think, like an 18-hour day. It was a really long day. We had been filming all day. We were underground. Everything was set up. We were filming a minor, and we were just exhausted. All of us were. And we were exhausted and just giddy and laughing at everything, and just nothing was going right. It was taking a lot longer, but everything seemed funny to us. Then we finally kind of started getting a little bit serious, and we finally, after about 18 takes of this one scene that we kept shooting, but we had to reshoot because we'd all start laughing, we finally were getting a serious take on it. And the stool that the miner we were interviewing, that he was sitting on, it breaks from underneath on the one serious take. And we all just started dying. He immediately took his pistol out and shot the stool. So you remember that, Federico?
Of course. This was the reason I answered so quickly.
You didn't even have to think about it. So that was just a little fun thing. So let's go and see if the audience has any questions. Do we have questions that Federico can answer?
Yes, I will let Raquel list the questions if she doesn't mind. I just saw quickly a question from Giancarlo Parodi about phosgenites. Do you have any phosgenites better than the one that we have at the School of Mines?
Ouch.
I believe you know that the two best one you ever are coming from this collection.
We exchange among museums. That practice used to happen and still can happen. Actually, exchanges we can still do in a worldwide museum, I would say. So yes, we can exchange in between museums. So that's
I can tell you that I am absolutely not against the exchanging of specimen between collections, museum collections. And the second, I don't care if the piece is here or in the School of Mines. I just need that the pieces are in exhibit to public in a public museum. That's it. I don't care in which museum.
And you know what? That's exactly what I was saying earlier in the chat. I was exchanging with Cristiano Ferraris as well, and we were all dribbling on all your beautiful minerals, and we were just saying, as long as it's in the museum for everybody to see, that's the most important thing. So we all agree on that. Thanks. So just to answer Giancarlo's question, do you have any phosgenite on display?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Plenty.
Bigger than 17 centimeter.
Yeah, Alan Hart's being, he's trying to stir the pot, saying the best is in the British Museum.
Of course.
I know if you see.
Oh, yes. Yes.
You see the phosgenite? Yes, and the green in the middle is probably the green in the middle is probably the best example of green anglesite from Sardinia, which means close to the best in the world, because I don't know if there is something.
Wow, no, that's really impressive. It's beautiful anglesite.
And this one, this phosgenite on the right, the big one here, was a surprise because this was completely covered by crust when I came to the museum, and in the lab I built here in the museum, I completely cleaned the piece and it became one of the best pieces of our collection.
Wow. Yeah, I think that Giancarlo has to be happy about that.
So, Alan, that was Pezzotta's way of saying, how do you like them apples?
Yep. That was the right answer.
That's also having the you have so many talents, Federico, but being able to see the specimen and being able to clean it, trim it, and really enhancing yourself as a curator, that's an amazing skill. So I think your museum win from all of your talents. Yes, we have a few questions from the audience. One is from Stephen Quidams. I think, do you mention the blue planet? So the abundance of water versus loss of O2 and the oxidation events. So kind of, what's your approach? I think I will extend the question to what's your approach to the mineral evolution stages?
It's interesting. I try to illustrate the concept of mineral evolution, and not only putting some text which are describing the concept, but also putting some specimen in which actually the black planet is represented by magnetite and by some meteorites and some minerals which are quite primitive and with a lower level of oxidation. And next to these stones, I put some crystals of quartz full of hematite, which are becoming reddish, and this is actually creating some. I believe they can impress the public looking
Can
at
we
the
get?
group.
Can we see? Can we get a quick look again?
Sure, of
Thank
course.
you. I think it's nicer what you are explaining to look at it. For the people that really are not much familiar with mineral evolution, mineral diversification, that's a new theme that has been, I mean,
Yes.
not that new, but over the past 10
Actually,
years.
You can see the meteorite there, the magnetite here, and the Libyan glass related to impact of meteorite in the desert. And here, actually, as an example for the red planet, the strong oxidation of the iron creating the red color. And these are example of quartz full of hematite. And when I want to illustrate it, the white planet, actually, which is the snowball, the concept of the snowball, actually, I put some white minerals, which are actually a little bit borderline for illustrating the white planet. But in any case, it is just a question of creating some feeling with this concept. And when we go to the green planet, actually the planet in which there is the oxidation related to life and the creation of a wonderful variability of species and of processes because of the supergene processes in the crust. I put all the colors together to show the big variety, which is represent of colors of minerals, which is representing the increase of the number of the species related to the several processes which are active now in creating mineral species in our planet.
Beautiful.
I don't know if I answered to the question.
Yes, I think it was more about exactly that specific. We have another question from Gerhard Wagner. Is the gold collection from Aosta still on display in the museum?
Gold collection, yes. Actually, I created, I made a special showcase for the gold collection. Here is.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a nice group of large pieces with gold found in the Aosta Valley in Brusson. And I put these gold pieces. Actually, they are not from the same found. They are from different found. But through the years, I tried to buy everything I was able to buy when I had some money at the beginning of the 2000. And actually, this is representing a nice example of what was found at this mine. And I combined this. Pieces of quartz with this amethyst. I don't know if you can see large crystal of amethyst, which are coming from Traversella, which is a classic historic locality in Italy, and the origin of the two mineralization actually is a little bit similar. They are hydrothermal veins developed during latest stages of metamorphism of the rocks. So this is the reason these specimens are put together in this showcase.
That's beautiful. And also the backgrounds with all the mountains in the back on the Alps. It looks really very aesthetic.
The pictures of this exhibit I used are coming from Marco Stoppato, an Italian photographer working several times for National Geographic and top level magazine and of illustrating nature and the environment and so on. And look at this picture. This is one of my preferred one. I don't know, unfortunately, is not able to show well. Yeah, now you see.
Wow.
This is,
Those are like glacial pieces?
yes,
It's a li-
exactly. These are the ice blocks
Nice.
on the beach in Iceland.
Wow. That's the blue planet. That's it.
I put this picture illustrating a cold natural environment full of water compared with another picture you can see at the bottom of the room. Unfortunately, you cannot see so much. You see the yellow, the big
Yes.
picture at the bottom. It is Dancalia. Dry, dry, hot place close to inside a volcano caldera. And by coincidence, actually, it is interesting to see how the sulfur pieces you see here in display at the beginning of the room have the color of this picture at the end. But this fluorite from Le Bourg, France, has exactly the color of the blocks of ice represented in the other picture you have seen before.
A
No,
full
Federico, you're
balance.
supposed to say you designed it that way.
The graphics are really beautiful as well, and the room is beautiful. Like Mike was commenting as well on the floor, the floor that you have, the rock floor. He was really jealous of that as well. So everything is beautiful. Congrats! You have a lot of congrats from the audience. A lot of congrats. I know that a few people have to leave, but already I saw a lot of congrats and looking forward to seeing it. But I think that Raquel has a few more questions if you have some time.
I have one last one from John. How are you keeping the minerals protected from the UV light coming in from the beautiful art windows?
The windows are obscured by the use of dark pellicule. I don't know if it is correct in English.
It's like a thin film.
A
On
film,
top
yes.
of-
Dark
uh-huh.
film obscuring the light coming inside the windows, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
So
really good to
actually,
know.
you see now it is dark outside, but during the day, actually, the light which is coming inside the windows is enough low not to interfere with the lighting of the room, and the place in which the UV light is enough dark to show the effect of the UV light on the minerals.
Yeah, thank you. Do you see any other question, Eloise?
No, I think we went
Maybe-
around it. Thank you very much for taking the time to answer them, Federico, as well. Thank you.
I'm happy for that. Yeah.
I have
Wonderful.
one more
Federico.
question.
Oh, one more
Personal
question.
questions. Yeah, sorry. So, kind of the end of not the end of a career, but every curator wished to do what you have done, which is renovate and create. Are you done? What's your next step as a curator for the
I
museum?
already have another major project I want to do here at the museum, which is proper setting of the collection in the basement of the museum. We don't have suitable cases. The collections are not in the order I would like to see. I already have the plan of asking the money for having for renewing the cases and for having in the future the collection in the shape I would like to see. I am very, very, very sorry when I see some dealers, mineral dealers, which have inventory and storage which are better organized than my museum. And this is a shame. So some dealers are super organized. It's unbelievable. Everything is, and this is what actually is necessary to have in a museum. Complete track of every piece, complete documentation of every important piece, and so on. This is my next work here, my next project.
Thank you. I'm sorry, guys.
But he said He's
Without entomology, no more.
That's great. Well, Federico, thank you so much for joining us. Cristiano, I did see your comment about the Kongsberg coming out of my head, and it's just unavoidable. But hey, Federico, really appreciate you taking the time, and thank you for giving us the first tour of the museum of everybody in the world. And so that means a lot. I know all of our viewers really enjoyed it, and it's wonderful to have you on the show.
And this was also allowed by the direction of the museum, which gave me authorization doing that. This is important.
Of course.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
And we are really thankful for you being able to enter the museum tonight and with your colleague as well who helped you tonight. So thank you so much for allowing us to have the sneak peek at the beautiful new gallery. Thank you so much, Federico.
And congrats for the amazing job.
Yeah, you did an outstanding job. For all of our viewers out there, it's kind of ironic. This was totally unplanned, but as you heard, one of the great influences for Federico was Gene Myron. And if you check back with Blue Cat Productions' YouTube channel tomorrow, we're going to have Gene Myron's interview that he did with us online. So that is coming online tomorrow. That was originally aired back on January 13th, and we saw some incredible pieces and had a great talk with him. Tune in next week, same bat time, same bat channel. We are going to have Paula Crevichet from Crevichet Jewelry, designer extraordinaire, on our show. She's coming in from Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're very excited to have her on the program. If you don't know Paula, then tune in tomorrow to Blue Cat Productions' live broadcast of What's Hot in Tucson 2021. She is going to be on our show at the top of the hour, 10 a.m. Tucson time, and you'll get a sneak peek of what we're going to see in our major interview next week. So thank you again for joining. Aloha to everybody, and have a great week. Take care. Bye.